pleasure to introduce our keynote speaker tonight, Professor Anthony Esolen. Professor Esolen is a dynamic speaker, professor of English literature, and one of the team teachers at Providence College, Department of Weapons Implementation Core Curriculum. He's a translator from the Modern Library of the Divine Comedy of Dante Alighieri. He's translated Lucretius's On the Nature of Things and Tasso's Jerusalem Delivered. He writes extensively. You see this work probably in Magnificat and certainly Touchstone and the blog Mere Comments. You know, I said earlier that he would be in his element among the Inklings, C.S. Lewis, Tolkien, and company. And his is a muscular thought. He brings an approach that we desperately need today. And I'm so delighted to have an outstanding defender of Western civilization and transmitter of that flame. Please welcome Professor Anthony Esolen.
Thank you, Harry. It's a great honor for me to be among such warriors as myself. And I'm really glad that you stood up there because now I'm assured of a standing ovation no matter what I say. I was told long ago by a great professor of history at Providence College that in any talk that you give to the students, you can make at most 3 points. And I'm going to make 3 points today. Now, of course, he was at Providence College. If he was at the 4-year community college on the other side of the city from us, Brown University. That number would have been 2. This is what I will make 3 points, but I'm not going to get them for what you do so well. First, I'd like to remind you of the scene at the crucifixion of Christ. I'm sure you're all aware of this. When they spit Jesus, he was apparently wearing a garment, a very costly type of garment, a well-made garment, without any seams in it. It was a so-called seamless garment. And they cast lots for it rather than split it up. And one of the gospel writers says, this fulfilled one of the verses in the Psalms, and for my vesture they cast lots. That seamless garment in the 80s became a metaphor that was used by certain Catholics. And I think they were imprisoned by the very metaphor that they used. It was made popular. I know that you all know this. I'm speaking of to inquiry. You know this better than I do. It was made popular by Cardinal Joseph Bernardino of Chicago. The idea behind it was that if we were to be truly pro-life, that is, if we were truly to defend the lives of innocent children in the womb, we would also have to defend the lives of criminals on death row, and other sorts of things which flowed from that became rather expansive. I have no wish to question the Cardinal's integrity, and I don't wish to take a position tonight on the matter of the death penalty. I know that several effects resulted from this move, and maybe they were not expected at the time. Maybe. Pro-abortion politicians would always call upon that metaphor, this seamless garment, to cover themselves from the charge that they were warriors in an army of death. That they would point to their opposition to the death penalty, an opposition which is actually very easy, can cost them very little in most places in the country, or to their support of the welfare state, because after all, apparently, if you support a large welfare state, that means that you are in favor of life somehow. I'm not certain that I buy that. And I'm not certain that I buy the reasoning that ties the two issues together. Or they can point to any number of things that would distract attention from the fact that they were supporting the deliberate taking of innocent human life. Anything to distract attention from that. Meantime, pro-life activists were saddled with the charge of hypocrisy. If they did not oppose the death penalty with equal vigor, or if they did not follow suit in any number of political issues which involved virtue or prudence, rather than something that is evil in its very self. You all know this. There's no need for me to tell you this. Tireless supporters of the unborn child. What I want to say instead is that another effect resulted from the Cardinals' equation of the moral evil of abortion with the supposed moral evil of the execution of murderers and other such things. And that is that there really were connections to be drawn between abortion and other moral evils. In other words, that very same metaphor, the seamless garden, could have been used, but not in the way he used it. There were connections to be drawn between abortion and other moral evils, and we did not draw them then, nor do I think we draw them now. Those connections spring not from a materialist view of the act, and I want to caution everybody against accepting a materialist view of what goes on in the world. That is, life is taken just as lives are taken in war or by execution. Nor do I think these connections spring from a legalistic view of the act. It's a view with which I have great sympathy. It observes that the willful taking of innocent human life may never be justified. And the law that allows it is an unjust law, and if any law requires you to take part in it, but then that law has to be disobeyed. Instead, the connections between abortion and other moral evils, as I see them, spring from what I like to call an existential view of the act. That is, in abortion, it is not simply that someone dies. That might spring from a materialist view. Even a materialist could see that a human life comes to an end in abortion. Or that an innocent life is taken. Which it is, of course. It's more than this. It's that a mother who, unless she has been raped, has conceived the child in her womb by a voluntary act. Not willing that she conceive a child in the womb, but willing to do that thing which naturally results, we all know, in the conception of a child. Because unlike pianos falling from great heights, pregnancies do not happen accidentally. She, that same mother, now commits that child to death. A child wholly dependent upon her for its sustenance and indeed its very existence. To do such a thing is to violate your nature, not only as a human being, but as a mother. And in so doing, you reduce the category of mother to the status of a holding tank for biological mass. The mother is no longer considered a holy thing, holding within herself something else that is holy. In the very act, she reduces both it and her to the status of neutral things. It's. In the very act whereby you demote the child to an it that can be disposed of at will, you demote your woman, you demote your body and your very self to a kind of machine for personal pleasure, to a device that ejects unwanted trash.